Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. This is my first video of 2024. It sounds so surreal to say 2024. My last video of 2023 was my best and worst books of 2023. So I decided why not to start with another book video, you know? So in this video I will share with you my TBR books that I want to read in 2024. I put a goal on Goodreads to read 30 books this year. Last year I read 26, so fingers crossed, hopefully I'll make it happen. So without further ado, let's see what I'm gonna be reading this year. So let's start with the latest addition to my TBR, and it is the Thursday Murder Club. This book has been out there for a while now. I think it was published in 2020. And it already has 3 other books in the series, so I am so excited to start a series. I'm really not that big on series because a lot of them are just young adult literature, which I already said previously is not quite for me due to my age. I'm an old 28-year-old woman. So I love mystery. I love watching like murder mystery movies. There was a period when I was into true crime, but I think at some point true crime just really gets heavy if you watch it and listen to it. It's not good for my mental health. But I feel like murder mysteries like Agatha Christie vibe, which I never read her books, but I watched every new Poirot movie. So anyways, long story short, I was so hyped to try this book, but somehow every time I come to a bookstore, I see it, I always would choose something else. To make it easier, let me just read the synopsis on the back. So, in a peaceful retirement village, 4 unlikely friends meet up once a week to investigate unsolved murders. But when a brutal killing takes place on their very doorstep, the Thursday Murder Club finds themselves in the middle of their first life case. Elizabeth, Joyce, Ibrahim, and Ron might be pushing 80, but they still have a few tricks up their sleeves. Can our unorthodox but brilliant gang catch the killer before it's too late? Question mark. So I'm so excited. Definitely think I'm gonna be reading it up next once I'm done with what I'm currently reading. Oh yeah, and by the way, maybe it's worth mentioning what I'm currently reading is a book I started last year, so I'm just finishing it up, and it is book by fellow Azerbaijani. If you guys don't know, I'm ethnic Azerbaijani, Azeri. So the book is I Sat Alone by the Gate by Mary Efendi. I don't have actually physical copy. I'm reading it on my phone on the books app. So once I'm done with that, I will let you guys know what I think, but probably that will be already in my yearly books of the year video, so stay tuned, 1 more year to go. So next book is Orientalism by Edward Said. With the current events, with the genocide that's happening in Gaza, I really I wanted to read Edward Said. For those who don't know, he was Palestinian author, but I think also academic, and he's very well known for all those who are aware of the Palestinian cause, because he would always talk about Palestine, and I never read anything by him, and I always wanted to read this book specifically on Orientalism, which actually argues this whole generalization of all the Orient into one, as that's how white people perceive Middle Easterners, but also Southeast Asians. Just anything that's not white or black is just Orientalism, you know. But I just started this book last year, and it was like really difficult to follow through, especially at the end of the year, you know. You kind of, I feel like, not in the right headspace. At least I wasn't, but I feel like with the new year I can see things clear now. I mean, for myself, I was just overworked and stuff, so I'm definitely gonna continue. I only made it this far and I'm only in intro. So that's definitely my next nonfiction read. I'm very excited to read it, so I will let you guys know what I think. So next book actually has been on my TBR for a few years now, and it is Dostoevsky and his Idiot. As always, it is in Russian because I speak Russian, so I read Russian works in Russian. Actually, one of you commented on my last video asking how come I know Russian and stuff like that. So I know Russian. I know Russian literature very well. I grew up reading it. So this book I have been putting aside for quite a while. And I really hope that this is gonna be the year when I finally read my third Dostoevsky book. Two previous being Crime and Punishment, of course, and then Brothers Karamazov. So that's my reading goal for 2024, to read one more Dostoevsky, and it's never easy. It's not the type of book I personally can just read in one day. But we'll see, maybe this one will be different. But I feel like when it comes to Dostoevsky, it's just like, you know, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot of like morality and a lot about faith and stuff. So I'm curious. I actually have no idea what this book is about. I just bought it when I was last time home in Almaty. So I just picked it up and it's still here. So one more Russian classic, since we're talking about Russian classics, and that is Leo Tolstoy and his Anna Karenina. I never know like the pronunciation when it's like Russian words and like, you know, names. I feel so odd pronouncing them in English, you know, but and then it sounds so fake. But I don't know if I'll say it like with Russian pronunciation. Will you guys get it, or will you be like, what the fuck did you say? So this is Anna Karenina. I hope you guys can understand. So do I need to explain? This book actually is from Soviet times. My mother, God bless her soul, bought this book. So it's actually 1985, 10 years before I was born. So this is like vintage, you know. I love that. I am slowly trying to move my mom's library to me, but then I know that I don't want to stay in Prague forever, and then I'll have to move all those books with me wherever I'll decide to settle. And you know, this is the first, I think, from my mom's library that I decided to bring with me. But my mom has so many Russian classics from Soviet times that I find it so cool that I'm able to inherit that and then to pass it to my children. Because, you know, one thing that I think can never go out of fashion is Russian literature. So for that reason, just so gorgeous. Look at this. Like, they don't make these books anymore. Can you guys see? But yeah, it has like golden letters. And it says like in Russian, Leo Tolstoy, Anna Karenina. And like the same goes here. Like, look how beautiful. This is Soviet books, you guys. That one, the other one, Dostoevsky, is not Soviet. I bought it back home. This one is full-on vintage. So I'm really happy. And also look, it has like Russian illustrations. I said Russian illustrations like they're so different from the rest of the world. But I mean, like, they come with illustrations, which I feel like they don't do it anymore. I don't know why they would do it here, but I love it. I dig it. Look at this. Now moving to Anglo-American classics. And first one is Anglo classic, and that is Jane Austen, Sense and Sensibility. I honestly just went to the local bookstore, and they have these like classic books by Collins Classics, this brand, and they're so cheap. I literally got this one I think for like €3 or something. So I don't like buy them for their covers because usually their covers are ugly, but like I just valued the book itself. Of course I like a beautiful cover, but I'm not one of those people who can buy a book because of the cover, or like buy a few copies because of the cover. I just find it like a waste of money, in my personal opinion. For myself, you do you. But this was that time when the cover was actually pretty. So I love the cover. I honestly don't really like, I think, British classics, but like American really is more for me. Obviously Russian classics, I already talked about them, but like British are too, like, I feel like I don't relate to them at all, and for some reason it just it doesn't work for me. Like, I read Pride and Prejudice, I read Jane Eyre, all of those, but because of this cover and because of the price, I was like, I need it. So I am not looking forward to reading it. I think when I'll have nothing else to read, to be honest, I'll read it, but I definitely need to read it because I hate just having books and not reading them. So, but look at this pretty cover. And I mean, I probably should explain the books I'm talking about. Like, I literally just show it to you guys, but I don't know, it's gonna just take longer. But oh, it was apparently Jane Austen's first published work when it appeared in 1811. I didn't know that. One of her most cherished novels, the story of the Dashwood sisters, has been the subject of several adaptations for film and television. Yeah, I mean, like, this is exactly the reason why I buy classics, because I feel like I just really like to know what is the hype. And Sense and Sensibility obviously is one of those works of literature that you hear about a lot in their movies, so I prefer to be updated and to know from the source. Next is American classics, and I'm talking about Edgar Allan Poe and his Tales of Mystery and Imagination. So these are short stories, a collection of them, so there's like 28 of them, but look how huge it is for just 28 stories. Quite a collection. But yeah, I actually bought it and I was looking forward to read it this Halloween season, but then it just didn't happen. I don't know, and now it's like winter time and I don't know if this is the vibe now. Maybe I'll have to wait for next Halloween season, which will be in like 10 months. Yeah, way to go. But I feel like with so many books that I have, it might happen that I'll just keep this one for October, because, you know, I think no one does mystery, crime, and like all that gothic horror theme in literature as well as he does. Although are we canceling him because he was married to, who is it, like his cousin? And also she was underage. I don't remember if it's the part that she was underage or it's the part that she was his cousin. Oh yeah, it literally says, I just found it, look you guys. In 1835, Poe married his 13-year-old cousin in secret, and 10 years later wrote perhaps his most well-known poem, The Raven. His wife died of tuberculosis shortly after he had found success with his poem, and many believe that the effect of her death on Poe is what eventually led to his own gradual decline. Like, a lot of reasons why we should cancel him, but like I said in my previous video, I feel like all the writers from the past, or all the people from the past, will find reasons to cancel them. And I don't know if by not reading, you know, his books is gonna do anything. He's dead either way, so it's not like he's promoting his views, right? He doesn't. I don't know. I didn't read it yet, so I'll let you know when I will read it, in fact, and then I can make an opinion. But so far, I'm really intrigued. So the next 5 books are all non-fiction. I don't know why I went so hard last year buying all these non-fiction books, because now I'm just like, damn, I have nothing to read, because like all the non-fiction books are so hard to read, you know. Sometimes you just want to have fun, and I feel like that's what fiction is there for. So nonetheless, I'm really excited about these books because they are all very important to me, but I'm like, I need to buy some fiction reads, because what is this? And the first one I want to share with you is the autobiography of Malcolm X as told to Alex Haley. I love this cover. I love Malcolm X. What a legend. And I'm looking forward to learn more about his life. I watched the movie like based on his life, and it was really interesting, and I watched his interviews. He's one of those personalities who I feel like were misunderstood during their lifetime, and then like when they passed, you know, with time you realize that they were just born at the wrong time. So looking forward to read it, and I think I should read it in February because it's Black History Month, and what a great way to celebrate Black History Month by reading one of the greatest Black figures in African American history. So really excited about it. Next book is Will Storr, The Science of Storytelling. This one is my personal development book. I want to get better with my writing. I want to learn something new. You guys know I went to school for journalism, then I worked as a journalist, I still do, but I never got a chance to kind of just write fiction or creative writing. I had like one course at uni, creative writing, but that wasn't enough. And so I'm really looking forward to learn more from this book and to develop my storytelling better. So really excited about this one. I think I'll be reading it along with some other fiction because I think it's very good for me to read it as soon as possible so I can use it in practice for my work and future projects. Next is some political read, and this is Prisoners of Geography by Tim Marshall. So I'll just read the back cover. All leaders are constrained by geography. Their choices are limited by mountains, rivers, seas, and concrete. Yes, to follow world events, you need to understand people, ideas, and movements, but if you don't know geography, you'll never have the full picture. If you've ever wondered why Putin is so obsessed with Crimea, why the US was destined to become a global superpower, or why China's power base continues to expand ever outwards, the answers are all here. Prisoners of Geography looks at the past, present, and future to offer an essential insight into one of the major factors that determines world history. It's time to put the geo back into the geopolitics. So I am really more and more interested in reading political books, like learning more about politics and history, and when I saw this book I just wanted to read it. It sounded interesting to me. So this one I'm actually curious to read. I really hope it's not gonna be a miss because I saw some people saying that it's like typical American, you know, interpretation of events. So we'll see. I'll let you guys know at the end of the year, as always. Definitely looking forward to read it soon. And if you have any other political books to recommend, please let me know in the comments because I need more political books. Next book is another non-fiction, but this one is like journalism work by no other than Truman Capote in Cold Blood. So the guy who wrote Breakfast at Tiffany's, everyone knows that one, everyone watched the movie. We all love Audrey Hepburn. What an icon. I had a period in my life, like when I was a teenager, when I was just so obsessed with her. I was watching all of her movies. I didn't watch all of them, but I watched so many. So yeah, I definitely had my Hepburn period in my life. So this one is so different from Breakfast at Tiffany's because controversial and compelling in Cold Blood reconstructs the 1959 murder of Kansas farmer, his wife, and children. Truman Capote's comprehensive study of the killings and subsequent investigation explores the circumstances surrounding the terrible crime and the effect it had on those involved. So as a journalist, you guys know, I'm drawn to books by journalists. I like to read journalistic works of the past because I feel like that's when shit was real, you know? But also when it comes as a non-fiction work from a journalist, that's just life-changing. And I heard so much about this book, I heard so much about this case. I was even gonna watch a movie about Capote's life where I think they put the events of this book and like him actually writing it at the center of the plot, but thank God I didn't, because I first want to read this and then watch the movie to be able to understand everything. I heard that he kind of developed feelings for one of the guys, but I don't know if it's like rumor, conspiracy. I'll let you guys know when I'll finish the book. I'll watch the movie and have more evidence to either debate that or agree with that and tell you guys what I think. So yeah, definitely looking forward to read it, like all of them. I just need to be faster with my reading. I swear I'm such a slow reader. Like there are so many great books in the world and I'm just like stuck reading like one book at a time. The last physical copy I have is How to Win Friends and Influence People. So another self-help book that I actually bought at the same time I bought Think and Grow Rich, that I was talking about in my best and worst books of 2023. If you guys haven't watched it, go ahead, click that video notification, whatever, it's gonna pop up. So what was I saying? So yeah, I bought them together, and you guys know I hated How to Think and Grow Rich or whatever. So this one is another book that's always being mentioned by self-help book lovers, so I'm a bit afraid to read it because I just feel like like self-help books are not for me. Like, I think I'm too critical of them. But I do think like it's stupid to hate on self-help books because they do help people who need that help, you know? So I think that's like really snobbish of me and other people who hate on self-help books to just hate on them. You know, let people read whatever they want to read. I want to try. I want to give it a try. I want to see if it's worth it and then tell you guys what I think. So, you know, I will read it this year, but I don't know how soon because I think I'm still not that excited after my last self-help book experience. So next few books that I want to share with you that I want to read this year, I don't have with me yet, but I do plan to order them, and I've been eyeing them since last month or even 2 months ago, but I'm really trying to take it slow. You see how many physical copies I have to read? Like, at least be done with these first, you know? But I am already looking forward to ordering these books that I'm gonna mention in this video. So I figured that it's only fair I share them so you guys can maybe find out about them as well and read them, because they're really good books. In my personal opinion, I haven't read them, but I heard a lot of good things. So first is Doppelgänger by Naomi Klein. So she's well-known like leftist author, but I've never read her. My husband actually read her No Shock Doctrine, I think it's called. She's very well known in the leftist book sphere or space, and I would love to read not only this work of hers but others. Basically, in this book, Naomi Klein draws parallels between her and Naomi Wolf, the author of The Beauty Myth. I never read that book, but I heard a lot about it. But if you guys don't know, Naomi Wolf kind of became very conservative, like or she just like spread some conspiracies and stuff like that, like very sus. But I don't know much about that. Like, I just found out about it from reading synopsis of this book basically. So yeah, and we kind of like learned that. I don't know, it just sounds so fun and so cool, and I saw a few excerpts, so I am looking forward to buying it and reading it. The next book that I really wanted to read since probably October last year, since the beginning of the last Palestine-Israel war, and that is the 100 Years War in Palestine, a history of settler colonial conquest and resistance, 1917-2017 by Rashid, Khalidi. So this is basically history of 100 years of war waged against the Palestinians from the foremost US historian of the Middle East, told through pivotal events in family history. So, you know, I want to read more about Palestine. I am unfortunately not as aware of this conflict as I should be, and that only revealed itself to me during the past few months, and so I really want to educate myself and learn more. That's all I can say. So definitely gonna buy this book and read it this year. Next book is a memoir, actually, by Clarissa Ward. She's a well-known CNN correspondent. She's been to all the conflict places. So this book is called On All Fronts, The Education of a Journalist. So following a privileged but lonely childhood, Ward found her calling as an international war correspondent in the aftermath of 9/11. From her early days in the field, she was embedding with Marines at the height of the Iraq War and was soon on assignment all over the globe. So basically, just I love reading more about journalists, and it inspires me. And Clarissa Ward is like one of the most, I don't want to say the most, because I think there are a lot of like American journalists who are also doing what she's doing, but I think she is the most well-known and one of the bravest people, journalists, who are reporting from conflict zones. And she actually recently went into Gaza and made a report for CNN, so it's worth checking it out if you haven't. So yeah, I want to read that. Okay, and to lighten up the mood, let me just share last two books, and those are fiction books. First one is Color Purple by Alice Walker. I think this is like classic of American literature, so I've never read it actually, but I want to read it because I know the new movie is coming out, because I think there's like older version, but now there's going to be this new version. So I want to read the book before I watch the movie, and I want to know the theme. So The Color Purple depicts the lives of African American women in early 20th century rural Georgia, separated as girls. Sisters Sally and Nettie sustain their loyalty to and hope in each other across time, distance, and silence. And the last book I'm gonna share, but I have so many more that I want to read this year, but I think like for now let's just wrap it up here, or else this video is gonna go on and on. So last book that I definitely want to read this year is from the best-selling author of Breasts and Eggs, an international literary sensation, and it is Mieko Kawakami's All the Lovers in the Night. So you guys know, if you watched my last book video, I read 2 of her books last year, and I was savoring this moment to read. I think she has one more book actually besides this one, but that one is like super short because she only has 4 books translated to English. I might be wrong, but that's what I found last time I checked. So I love her writing, I love her books, I love the stories she tells, and this one really sounds cool and interesting. So yeah, it's about freelance copy editor in her mid-30s, working and living alone in a city where it is not easy to form new relationships. She has little regular contact with anyone other than her editor Hijiri. When Fuyuko stops one day on a Tokyo street and notices her reflection in a storefront window, what she sees is a drab, awkward, and spiritless woman who has lacked the strength to change her life and decides to do something about it. All the Lovers in the Night is acute and insightful, entertaining, and engaging. It will make readers laugh and it will make them cry, but it will also remind them, as only the best books do, that sometimes the pain is worth it. So sounds so cool, sounds very much like Breasts and Eggs, and I love that book. So definitely want to read that one. And of course I want to read so many more. Like I really want to read Toni Morrison this year. I want to read Joan Didion. I want to read oh my god, Giovanni's Room. Who's the author? I forgot his name. James Baldwin. Yes. Who else? Oh, and lastly, I also want to read last remaining book by Khalid Hosseini, and I don't remember the name, but you know, I'll put it here so you guys know. So there's so many books, and most of them are also from the authors I love, because I do need to know I'm gonna have a good book year, and the only way to know it is by reading those who work for you already, like those books and authors that like speak your language, you know. And for me, that's the people I just told you guys about. Of course I didn't read Toni Morrison and James Baldwin, but I believe that I never saw anyone say anything bad about those two. And now that, you know, Black History Month is coming up, I hope I can read 2 books by Black authors. So one of them being the autobiography of Malcolm X, and the other one something fiction. So maybe Color Purple actually would be nice. Anyways, I have so many ambitious plans for this year reading wise, because there's so many books in the world that I haven't read yet. So yeah, if you want to see more book videos, let me know, so I will film a few more during the year before, you know, I wrap up my reading year in December 2024. And if you want to see more updates from me book wise, then definitely follow me on my Instagram and TikTok, because I just share my opinion there. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry if it was a bit long, but you know, that's what we're here for, to know all the books we want to read this year. Also, let me know which book you're looking forward to reading this year. I know it's really hard to choose just one, so maybe like top 5 books. Yeah, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. Bye.